how is this thought elevating my energy? Or how is this thought pulling me into my darkness? Two very simple questions. And if you could answer one or the other, and there are some shades of gray, don't get me wrong, but if you start to understand how this thought is not serving you, there's more of a chance you'll be able to stop it.
Namaste. You're listening to the Savannah Podcast. Join us on an exploration of Eastern spirituality, yoga philosophy, and conscious living for the new age. This podcast is a production of SavannahSpirit.com, the best place to shop for unique clothing, spiritual handcrafted jewelry, healing gemstones, and fair trade gifts from the Far East. Now, here's your host, Brett Larkin.
Hi, Savannah family. Welcome back to the show. I am giddy with excitement for today's episode because we're talking about the chakras. So excited. Many of you know I authored a chakra journal that kind of helps walk you through 2019, moving through the chakra system as you journal throughout the year. I love doing chakra challenges. As you know, if you did the one that I hosted with Savannah Spirit earlier in January, I am chakra obsessed. So I'm super excited because Helen Chin Lui is on the show again today. And she's the author of this new book, Know Your Chakras, Introduction to Energy Medicine. So you're going to have a lot of aha moments, I think, in this episode as Helen and I dive into some less commonly discussed aspects of these energy centers. So if you don't even know what the chakras are, I want you to scroll back because we have some really great episodes on the Savannah podcast that kind of go over the basics and go through the chakras one by one. But what we're doing in this episode today is we're actually going to go deeper. We're going to talk about the front and the back of the chakras, which is something I'm still learning about. And we're also going to kind of debunk this myth that your chakras can ever truly be in balance. Helen, who I'm talking to today, is a certified reflexologist, certified energy medicine practitioner, and a certified Reiki practitioner. She owns the Healing Place Energy School in Massachusetts, and she's been practicing professional energy healing since 2006. And she has over 1,000 hours specialized in reflexology, energy medicine, and Reiki. Before we dive in, I have to remind you, support the show. Keep information like this coming to you. Really, your ratings and reviews here on iTunes make a huge difference in terms of getting the show in front of more people looking to transform their life through yoga and meditation. Right now, I'm doing the thing where if you leave a review and screenshot it, email it to info@brettlarkin.com, my team's going to respond to your email with this really beautiful PDF booklet full of my favorite affirmations and journaling prompts. It's a really lovely book I've put together, and it's totally free as just a thank you gift from me for taking the time to leave a review. The other big way to support the show is by making a purchase on SavannahSpirit.com. Valentine's Day is coming up, so it's definitely a moment to practice self-love, self-care, get yourself something, or maybe get something for someone special in your life. Beautiful healing gemstones, crystals, clothing. Head on over to SavannahSpirit.com and just see how many beautiful things there are for you to indulge in. And I have a coupon code for you. Take $25 off anything in your shopping cart if you're a new customer. Okay, now let's dive into the chakras with Helen. Hi, Helen. Welcome back to the show.
Brett, I am so glad to talk to you again.
So today we're talking about one of my favorite things, the chakras. And we're going to talk about it in relationship with reflexology. So listeners, if you missed the last episode, Helen really goes into a lot of detail and definitely helped me think of reflexology in a new way, helped me understand it, helped clarify how it's different from acupuncture and other Chinese medicine-based healing modalities. And Helen, it's interesting because I feel like the chakras are so often more associated or more mapped towards the Indian system as opposed to the Chinese medicine system. So tell us about how you got interested in the chakras and how you're integrating them into your work. And I know you have a book around this as well, which we'll want to tell people about.
Well, it's funny. The chakra work came to me by accident when I established my business back, the Healing Place, back in 2006. Here I am. I'm nervous as all hell. Starting a business from absolutely nothing other than the shirt on my back. At that point, I just received my foot reflexology certificate, and I opened up a shop. And people who were coming to me at that time were people who participated in my clinical reflexology clinic, and so that's how I built my client base. And before that, I was a I was trained in Reiki 1, 2, and 3. And so after I became certified in foot reflexology, my Reiki teacher came to me and said, Helen, I am opening an energy medicine school, and I think you're going to be so good at this. Literally 1 month after I opened my business. And I remember going, I can't go back to school now. I just started a business. And I went back and forth, thinking, what should I do? What should I do? It's a lot of money and da da da. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to enroll in chakra balance in school or energy medicine school. If the universe is presenting this to me, then this is a sign for me to step up. Oh my gosh. And I went to school for 3 years to learn about chakras, energy flow. And even at the end of 3 years, I felt like I didn't know everything. And I just find it so fascinating with how everything is either energy or matter. That's it. Just on this planet, there's only energy and matter, and energy holds matter. Matters what you could touch that's tangible, and energy holds everything together and binds it. And I just thought that was so fascinating. And how does each one of us are so unique, and the energy flows differently in everyone. And unfortunately, very few people understand what their energy is made out of. And they feel like they're like, I don't know, I won't call it a victim. They feel like they have no control over their energy flow. And that's not true.
Yeah, I love what you're sharing, because I think people don't. Well, they don't, just like you said. But what's so cool about the chakras is it kind of provides this framework or this map where people can begin to explore that without it feeling so overwhelming. Have you found that to be true?
That's true. Now, first of all, I'm hoping that your audience know what chakras are.
Yes. And listeners, if you're listening to this and you don't, please go back. I'll link up some episodes in the show notes, but we have so many amazing episodes on the chakras. And I really want to today talk to Helen about her expertise in relation to the chakras. So we're not going to go over what the chakras are and each of the 7 in this episode, because I think what's really unique about your background, Helen, is kind of taking this knowledge and integrating it with the Chinese medicine system and with reflexology and your energy medicine work. So,
it's so funny, Brad. I don't really, the way I do my healing work is very individualized. So I don't, depending on what the person needs, I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to work with anyone until they're in front of me. So depending on what they need and from what I sense, that's how I work with individuals, because, I have no idea. Half the time, sometimes I'm thrown for a loop, and there's something that's new to my hands, to my own energy field. And when I work with somebody who may have a blockage in their main chakras, but they might also have a blockage in their minor chakras, because in addition to the 7 major chakras, we have 21 minor chakras that sprinkle on our torsos and the back, on our legs, back of our legs, the back of our hands, in our shoulders. And so depending on where the energy's not flowing, and as I listen to people's story, I'm connecting the pieces of the puzzle together for them.
And okay, this is my next question. Can you feel if a chakra is in balance or in a state of excess or deficiency through someone's feet?
Yes, but I mostly could feel it through what ails them. Okay.
Okay, so let's use the example of the digestive issue because so many people have digestive issues. So, and we worked with that in the previous episode. So if someone's coming in, they have digestive issues, maybe.
All right. Let's say I'm hoping everyone understands that each chakra has the front. It looks like what I call 2 funnels that are held together at the little points. So if your chakras in the front of the body is about emotions, and the back of your chakras is about your will. So dependent your will, like what are you pushing yourself to or from? So your will, to how strong it is to get you from A to B, B to C. And then the front of the chakra is about your emotions, and it's about how you feel, how you process everything. So when you're doing chakra work, it's really important to combine both the emotions and the will, because what happens a lot of time, if you operate, let's say directly from your emotions. You're going to blow out your chakras in your, let's say, as we were talking about digestion, let's say your self-esteem. You go into the third chakra, which is associated with the digestive. It's about how do you feel about you? Do you have control in your life? Do you like what you're doing? So think about the emotions associated with where you are in this moment. If you feel good about it, chances are good your chakras are in balance. If you feel like, for example, you got shortchanged and you feel really sad, you got cheated out of something. So what happens with the emotional part of the digestive chakra is going to start to be either deficient because you're going to woe is me, or it's can be excessive because you're really mad that you got cheated out of something and someone has done you wrong. So that's the front of the chakra. The back of the chakra, from your will, your body, your brain is going, what are you going to do about this? Are you going to stay stuck? And all of a sudden, the dark side of the will say, you know what? You know you don't deserve this. What makes you think you have even a shot at this? Where the good side of your will say, all right, so you understand the situation. What are you going to do next? And the dark side of the chakra will say, make a plan. It's easy to talk about your woes. What are you going to do about this? So depending on how much you care for yourself, you're going to combine the emotion and the will to be the right blend for you. So one of the things that I get people to recognize, which a lot of digestive people usually they run deficient because they're working so hard, and now all of a sudden they hit the wall, and then they become so depleted of their energy, then they run on absolutely nothing. And this is something that I talk about in my book, Know Your Chakras, how to keep your energy flow in balance as humanly as much as possible. And a lot of this has to do with, do you check in with yourself, or do you let your circumstances own you and drag you into a dark place? Or maybe you're overly happy, and that overly happy is not a good place to be either, because you're always stuck in the clouds somewhere and you can't get your act together. So it is trying to find the right combination to help you to be able to function every single day.
So I like what you're saying about checking in with yourself, and you could even check in with yourself on the level of each chakra, right?
Yeah, your energy fluctuates thousands and thousands of times a day, really thousands. Think about what circumstances, who you talking to, what pressure are you under, what do you have to do to get from A to Z to the end of your day, and what you need to do to make everything fit into that one day. You make time for yourself. So if you're constantly producing and making everybody happy, you're going to deplete the energy, your chakra energy, very quickly.
Well, it's interesting what you just said, because I had this visual of, the chakras all lighting up and kind of dimming and, changing throughout the day. Because I think when you talk about the chakras, all my students, at least, people are really interested in, how do I balance this energy center? Like, balance is this static place that we can achieve or we can get to. But I feel like what you were tapping into, which I think is profound and not talked about enough, is how if you're giving a big speech to 10,000 people or something, because you're, a news anchor, a reporter, I don't know, you want your third chakra to be very strong in that moment, as well as probably your throat chakra. You'd want the energy to be strong in those places. When you come home at the end of the workday and are connecting with your family and, listening to how your partner's day went, there's a different energy shift that's going to happen. And maybe we want the heart chakra to be more, for more of the energy to be circulating there.
Well, think about, Brad. Think about what we are doing. We right now we're conveying education, right? Messages to teach people. So our energy is really right now at this point fairly excessive, because we want to be effective. We want people to say, my gosh, this is really good information. So what we're doing is expanding our chakra right now to touch everyone who is listening. So this way they could walk away with their nuggets on what they could do every every single day. But in my personal opinion, this level of giving that we are doing right this minute, we can't sustain that through the day and night, because what's going to happen, as you mentioned, we go home, we see our partners. We don't want to talk to you. We've already extended and spent everything that in my cash register. Everything is empty now. My gas tank is empty. So I got to come back and recollect myself at the end of the day so I could get ready for the following day. And I try really hard to keep my energy so I have enough at the end of my day so I could talk with my husband. After all, we've been together for 48 years. I do like to talk to the man. And but some days, don't you, Brett, even get to the point where you're just spent? You're physically, emotionally, spiritually spent at the end of the day.
Yes. And I think a lot of people, because so many listeners of the Savannah podcast are healers or yoga teachers or, also in the health profession. And I think it's actually really common that I know when I'm leading a teacher training, for example, at the end of a day of output and teaching and talking, I'm exhausted. And I'm sure, other people are too when you're in a situation of giving a high energetic output.
Exactly. And that's the right combination of words, output. So how do you end up coming back to recharge is going to be key. I could tell you my ritual, maybe you could share yours, but I like to go for a walk, preferably outside, but today the temperature is 4 degrees, so it's a little bit cold. Or I get on my treadmill, I read. One of my favorite things I love to do is go into a bathtub and soak in Epsom salt or something so I could clean my energy and get ready for, have a good night's sleep. But everything comes back to me at the end of the day. Whereas I used to work to midnight, especially when I started my business, I was running on empty every single day. And then we even come to work the next day, I was on empty because I would work to midnight. And I've learned I can't do that anymore.
I think we should go on vacation together, Helen, because your idea of a good time is very similar to mine. Lots of hot baths and reading, and I want to bring this back a little bit to the chakra system specifically, because I think a lot of times when we talk about self-care, it gets really associated with the root chakra, right? Muladhara chakra 1, because that's the one about kind of safety and security and taking care of our physical body, our physical form. But what I think you want to teach us in this episode, or what you're sharing, is that really when we're talking about the chakras, it's about energy management as a whole. And then knowing that, so maybe we can give listeners some practical tips, or you can help me. Like, if you know that you're going to, be very active, you want to schedule some downtime after that. But how can we get more specific and talk about this at the lens of each of the chakras, or maybe a couple of the main 7 at least?
Well, let's come back to being mindful, seeing you as the whole you, mindful, not just only address one situation when you start to feel off. Okay, here's a good example. When I'm the type of person, I never catch colds. I'm very blessed. I'm very healthy that way because my energy flows pretty regularly. So it's not, even at the age, I'm almost 65 now, I'm at the age I take no meds. I'm very blessed that way. And usually people by mid-60s they need this, they need this. And one of the things that runs in my family, we have a diabetes issue and a thyroid. Unfortunately, I had a thyroid issue in my 20s. So that comes down to the voice chakra, the things that we wish we could say, but we can't because very few of us are able to speak our truth. And so what happens is it translates where the energy in my thyroid shrank to the point it started to cause me a physical, well, let's call it a physical disability where my thyroid's not functioning properly. Diabetes runs late in my family, so it usually shows up in the 50s. That's about the average age is around 55. And I started my energy work in my 40s, started to understand my energy flow. So when you're a diabetic, it's all about the sweetness in your life. That's what the pancreas does. It breaks down so it can be delivered to your cells, and it also breaks down sugar. So from an energy point of view, the sugar represents not only the food, but it represents what is the sweetness in your life. So my brother said to me one time, Helen, we're waiting for you to become a member of our diabetes club. And out of 5 of us, 3 of us are diabetics, and one of us has thyroid cancer. So that's 4 major hit members there. And I told my brother, I will never become a diabetic. And he looked at me, he said, how do you know that? I said, that's because I understand my flow of energy and I don't allow things to get stagnant in my pancreas or my GI tract. So when I start to have a disturbance, so my stomach doesn't feel good, I check in and I start to ask my body, stomach, what are you worrying about right this minute? What is it that the energy, because that's what it is, because everything we do, say, and feel affects our chakra flows. So if you are a overthinker or you like to process, analyze information, think about where that energy gets stuck, especially if you're frustrated, where does it get stuck? And instead of saying you're a victim of your circumstances, everyone can make changes. People think that they have no choice. That is not true because people are so afraid to make little changes in their life. Then all of a sudden that energy becomes stagnant because you're frozen in time and in your action. So stop for a minute. I always tell my clients, when you start to overthink, overanalyze, I want you to come back to quiet. And even if you have to say the word quiet in your head, like as though it's like a white noise where you're repeating the same word over and over again, it will get you to come back and focus on your third eye. And this will help you to disperse the energy instead of having it stuck in one place in your body.
I think I'm sorry, I'm absorbing everything because a new concept or something I don't hear talked about as much that you brought in here is that the energy can be stuck. It's not like if you're an overthinker, for example, like you said, does that necessarily mean that the energy is going to be stuck around 6th chakra, third eye, or could it mean that it's stuck somewhere else in the body?
Exactly. This is the one thing that I love that I wrote in my book, Know Your Chakras. I teach everyone how to be your own personal energy cop. I want you to redirect the energy in your body. And all it does is it comes back to being mindful. Where is it? Why is it there? And you got to tell yourself to stop. You could actually tell yourself to stop this action. It's not necessary because what usually causes it is we want to control the outcome. We are fearful. We have doubts. And even though we're all light workers, we're still human after all. And these emotions are very strong within us because, again, the way we were raised and conditioned, we will go, instead of thinking what's the best outcome, many of us will think about, okay, if I do this, this could happen. But what if I am caught off guard? What if this is going to challenge me? It's going to cost me more money than I think or more time. Already you're going into a negative cycle.
So, yeah, so catching our thoughts and redirecting. Right. So if someone's having overly excessive thoughts, that's 6th chakra in excess, yes?
Yes, it is. So here's 2 questions that all you need to do is ask yourself. This is something I do for me all the time. Ask yourself, how is this thought elevating my energy? Or how is this thought pulling me into my darkness? 2 very simple questions. And if you could answer one or the other, and there are some shades of gray, don't get me wrong, but if you start to understand how this thought is not serving you, there's more of a chance you'll be able to stop it. It will take practice. It will take practice until you could stop the negativity in its track. But we have to start somewhere.
Yes. And listeners, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I could never do that, or you don't know how to begin, I would really encourage you to turn to your mat, turn to your yoga practice, turn to meditation, because yoga, for me at least, has really been the toolkit where I've been able to sort of sharpen the sword of discernment and figure out, which thoughts are serving me and which I want to let go of. I don't know. Do you have, what is your personal practice like, Helen, for kind of self-care? And do you do yoga or meditate at all? Or
well, my meditation is not the same as your meditation. My meditation is I like to cook. I like to knit.
I love it.
I like to make things with my hands. I like walking with my puppies. So meditation comes to me in many forms. So it's not just sitting there and do that Zen thing, which is lovely if you can. So meditation for me personally could be done anywhere, anytime. So even if you have a moment at, let's say, at a traffic light when you're stopping a car, by taking some breaths and clearing your energy, moving your energy. Because what happens a lot of times when we start to get nervous and anxious, we actually hold our breath or we breathe very shallowly. So what happens, the energy becomes very sluggish and your cells are all fighting for the same piece of oxygen. And that's when anxiety comes, depression comes, the racing of your thoughts come. So come back and breathe fully from your stomach where your diaphragm, your stomach is moving all the way out and all the way in.
I love it. I second that. And if you're driving and listening, you can do that at the next red light. Do it. Do it. So
driving though and closing your eyes, that would be terrible.
No, do it with your eyes open, everyone. Just feel the diaphragmatic breathing. Helen, can you tell everyone where they can find you online, where they can get connected with you? Because I know you have online offerings and we've talked about the book. So I just want to make sure everyone knows how they can stay connected with you.
My website is called Healing Place Energy School.com, and we're getting the healing school up and going. I want to teach people anything and everything that they want to learn more about themselves. My book, Know Your Chakras, on the school site, I'm hoping, but you could find it on Amazon. I mean, I'm on Facebook. It's called Healing with, what am I called? Oh my gosh, isn't this terrible? Here I am trying to remember all of these things in all these places. My YouTube channel, Reflexology Healing, I have about 16,000 subscribers. So it's like, whoa, there's a lot of people following me, and I have about 275 videos, little tips. My Facebook, the Healing Place Facebook. So I'm just so pleased with myself. And especially I grew this again from absolutely nothing. And here I am, I have this opportunity to talk to you, Brett, and to share my knowledge with your audience. And I really want to grow this energy that's in us to touch everybody, every place, because no one's exempt from Awaken Your Inner Healer Club.
I love it. I love it. So listeners, I'm going to put all the links Helen mentioned down below so you can just easily click on them and access her website, find out more about her school and her YouTube channel as well. And I just want to thank you all for being here, for listening all the way to the very end. I'm curious to know how this conversation today changed how you think about the chakras. So you can connect and let me know, because I'd really love to hear from you. On Instagram, you can find me at Larkin Yoga TV. And of course, on Instagram, you're also going to want to follow Savannah Spirit, and I will connect with you guys in the next episode. Let me know again how you've kind of changed your thinking about the chakras. I know I kind of want to mull over everything Helen said. I think I even want to re-listen to this episode, and I will connect with you next week. I'm sending you so much love. Remember to pause, check in, all the things that Helen taught us in today's show, and I'm sending you so much love from my heart to yours. Namaste.
You've been listening to the Savannah Podcast. To find out more about Savannah, go to savannahspirit.com or follow Savannah on Facebook at facebook.com/Savannah Spirit. For daily inspiration, check out our blog at savannaeast.com. Be sure to join us next week for a new episode, and thank you for listening to the Savannah Podcast.